Hello, this is video 6 of 10. We're on Kingston Pike. We're going toward Kingston. It's about 2 o'clock, and Pat had packed us a picnic lunch, and we pulled over into the parking lot of a church, Two Rivers Church, on the right-hand side of Kingston Pike to eat our lunch. So this is going to be a boring video other than to listen to me jabber, because I'm not going to edit this video. I'm going to let it go exactly the way we recorded it. So shortly we will be coming up on the Two Rivers Church. I was not familiar with this church. It's got a huge parking lot. There it is, sitting over to the right. And we pull into the parking lot. And I don't know if this is the Two Rivers, but it sure is covering their driveway coming into their parking lot. So while we eat our lunch, we were people watching or automobile watching, going up and down Kingston Pike. So you can either listen to me jabber and watch the traffic, or you can move ahead in this video. This video will end when we leave this parking lot. We'll go just a short distance down Kingston Pike, and we'll be turning left on Wilkerson, Wilkerson, Wilkerson Road. Looks like it's a couple of miles down the road, maybe shorter than that. And as we make that left-hand turn, this video will end. Before we left the house, I told Pat that I only wanted to go on this trip if we could just kind of stay in the car and fix us some sandwiches, find a place to park, and enjoy the day, which we did. I wanted to share this trip with my YouTube people, and it took about 10 videos to do this complete trip. The little smart car, I don't know how many gallons the tank holds. I've never been big on automobiles about miles per gallon. The way I always thought, if you had an automobile and you had it tuned and it was running the way it's supposed to run, how many miles per gallon it's getting is not that important, because that's the car you have. So I've never checked the mileage on this smart car. I have about 30,000 miles on this car. The longest trip that we've had with this automobile, this smart car, it's a 2015, we took it to Florida, and we went on back roads to Florida. I wish we had kept a journal. I didn't tape any of that trip. I didn't videotape any of that trip. So I wish we had maintained a log of the streets that we were on. We were coming into Georgia. It's kind of I may have told this story before. So while I'm sitting here eating, I'm just going to tell you some more stories. We came out of Florida on the back roads, and there was this bridge that went across an inlet or a river or whatever it was. Like I say, we did not keep a record of names of towns, where we were, roads, or anything. We just let the GPS take us where it would take us without putting us on the interstate. So when we came across this bridge, we couldn't see the little town in the distance until we got on top of the bridge and started down the other side. And we saw these people standing on the side of the road. Thousands of people. And there was a police car near the bottom of the bridge. And we were in that smart car, and they thought we were part of the parade. They thought we were late getting there to be in the parade. So I pulled up and stopped, and this policeman came over. I told him, I said, we're trying to get north. I said, we're from Tennessee, and we're doing back roads, and we had no earthly idea that you all were having a parade. I don't even know what kind of parade it was. And we would like to find out what road will go around your city until we can be on our way. So he gave us some directions, which we took. And we got on the other end of the town, and I figured, well, let's turn left because we've gone far enough that we're ahead of the parade. So we turned left, and we came back into the northern part of the city. Now I'm going to exaggerate. I know there must have been 75 transfer trucks in that parade, and we were right in the middle of them. But we followed the trucks out to the, I guess what they were doing was forming in a little area. So we were in the parade then, but when they turned left on the main road, we found our opportunity to turn right, and we were out of town. But we arrived in a parade and didn't mean to go into a parade. It's March 25 in the year 2020. Somewhere in the future, someone will be watching this video. If we don't have an electrical storm, a big one that will do all of the electronics in. But someday, someone is going to be watching this video and know by the date what the world event was during this time. And like Paul Harvey, they'll know the rest of the story. It's possible that we will know the rest of the story. Most of the people are heeding the warnings and are staying away from other people other than to go to the grocery store. And that's what we've tried to do. Other than going to the grocery store, if we go anywhere in our automobile, the only thing I'll do is stop at a gas station, and I have some disinfectant wipes that I use. I'll wipe the handle of the gas nozzle down. It's almost a tongue twister. Gas nozzle. Gas nozzle down. And then I'll clean my hands before I get back in the automobile. And short trips to the grocery store, and that's about the extent of our moving around in March. I don't know if we will take any more road trips until this pandemic has run its course. The main reason I wouldn't want to be out on a road trip and the government clamp down on all the roads and require people to stay at home, which I'm almost sure they're going to do. especially in some of the states. But if you were out on the road like this and they clamped everything down, you might have a hard time getting back to the house. So this is the final video, road video, that you'll see from me until this crisis has passed. If you look around and that water is not muddy, so I don't know if it's coming from a spring or what. But if you look around and see the beautiful sky and the clouds and that water trickling across the church driveway, it's hard to believe that we have something going on in our country that is one of the most traumatic things that we've experienced in a long time. And if you followed me on Facebook, I've talked about my dad during the Spanish flu pandemic. He was in the First World War. He was in the Army, and he worked in an Army hospital during that pandemic. He used to tell me stories about how virulent that was and the amount of people who were affected by that pandemic. And he was never affected during that time working he wasn't a doctor. He was what they called an orderly. He was a private. And he said that he never did get the flu. And he was dealing with several people who passed away. So, who knows what the future holds? We've been spoiled. Pat and I, we've talked about how spoiled we are. We've had it so good. And if you start reading about other parts of the world with tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes, a lot of people have had some traumatic things happen to them while we were more or less comfortable. And now we're being affected by an unseen enemy. Eventually, it will run its course, but unless they come up with a vaccine, which they will, this virus will raise its ugly head again. If they come up with a virus or a vaccine, which I'm sure they will, or some medicines to help you overcome the virus if you get it, it's just a matter of time. They'll do it. Some of the smartest people in the world are working on this. And when they do, we can return to normal. Most of the people are keeping their distance. I know I will not go into a crowd. But I've decided that I'm not going to do any more of these videos until the crisis is over. Because although we were in the vehicle, we never got out of the vehicle. You could be out on this road and need assistance, and if you did, of course, we've been in our house so long that if we were infected, it would have already shown, which it hasn't. But if you're out here on the road and you needed assistance, maybe the person who offers the assistance would be infected, then you would get infected, and then you would take it somewhere else. So therefore, this is the final road video that I'm going to do until this crisis is over. We're leaving. We've already had our snack. I had a cheese sandwich and a nutty bar with a bottle of water, and that's about it. So we're leaving the parking lot. I assume it's still called the Two Rivers Church. There was a marquee out there on the highway. I forgot to read it. But anyway, Google Maps has it listed as Two Rivers Church. And we're going to turn right back out on Kingston Pike. And down here a short distance, we'll turn left on Wilkerson Road. Let me see if I can pronounce that a little better. Wilkerson's Road. I have trouble with W's. When I worked in radio, if I was reading a newscast and I came on anything that had a W sound, even if it was an R, or R's, I guess I could say, like railroad, if I read that in a newscast, I would have to be cautious, or I would pronounce it railroad. So I have a problem with R's. So Wilkerson Road, we're going to turn left, and when we do, this video will end. And this is video 6 of 10. It'll take 10 videos to do this road video. And I've entitled these videos Rambling Road Video because that's what we more or less did. We just rambled around on some of these back roads. But now, from now until the 10th video, we'll be in an area where I have never had a camera. We'll eventually wind up on 411. The highway used to be the major highway between Knoxville and Chattanooga.